So, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, this is Chris McElrath, and I have just a brief message for you, and it is that we begin with love. We actually do begin with love. You know, the act of love is the beginning of most of our lives, sometimes not so loving, perhaps desire is there more than love, but generally there's quite a bit of love in the beginning of our life. And at the actual birth is quite an expression of love, a very miraculous expression of love. And then what happens? Then we get sort of out into the world, we get confronted by all of the civilization that we've been brought into. In a modern world, there's the media. The media, children are playing with iPhones and watching television, watching advertisements. They're being influenced by what? They're being influenced by the military-industrial complex. Now, Eisenhower, that many of you would have heard of, was a general in the Second World War. Then he became the President of America. Enormously popular dude. And then what does he say in his final speech, his last talk to the nation before he retired as president? He warned people about the military-industrial complex and how they are taking over everything. Now that was in, 1947 or something? A really long time ago. Perhaps it was more than that, perhaps it was 1960, but it was decades ago, many decades ago. And that same military-industrial complex has been gathering up strength. It's been gathering up everything almost that we regard as essential to life. It controls the water, controls the air, it controls education, controls the media particularly. Anyway, without getting into sort of too much doom and gloom about it all, there is a lot there. If you did 40 years or more of research, as I have, and as many people have, you find precisely the same thing. I'm not the only person saying this kind of stuff. It's evident to almost everybody on this planet, certainly the people who are in contact with any kind of media outlets, that there are simply a very, very few, huge companies run by a very small number of criminally insane people. And these criminally insane people, through their various companies, influence everybody. They control the money supply. Money is something people hardly recognize as where it comes from. But it is simply, in most cases, what we see is the paper and coins, but way over 95% of the money around the world has no physical existence. It's not a paper note, it's not a coin, it's simply something digital that has been tickled up on a computer screen. And who's doing that? It's the banks, and it's the people who control those banks. Those are the same people in charge of the armaments industry, in charge of the media. So it's not just conspiracy theory. If you look up who owns NBC, NBC is owned by General Electric. General Electric is a huge, giant producer of weapons of mass destruction. That's the media that we look at. ABC TV in America, owned by Westinghouse. Another enormous trillion-dollar whatever armaments manufacturer. So we get the news that we must invade Iraq, we must invade Syria, we must invade Libya, we must destroy all these countries who do not go along with this media blitz, this armaments factories, elite world. What else have I got for you? Freedom. Now, do we enjoy freedom? Not so very much anymore. I'm speaking to you from East Timor, where there is very little surveillance unless you happen to be in a Timor Plaza or somewhere. Virtually no surveillance. There's no one chasing you down the road if you're speeding or if you've been drinking and driving, you know, unless you have an accident or something. There's nobody harassing you about anything. You just do as you wish. If you wish to build a building, you build a building. You don't have to ask anybody about it, their permission, and check the design and so on. If you want to live in a house, then you don't want it to fall down, so you will make sure that it's going to be sound. So that's about all I have, except if you consider the food supply, what is in the food that we eat. If you go to a supermarket, you're surrounded by processed food. There's some fresh stuff, but that is grown generally with artificial fertilizers, artificial chemicals that are used to keep the bugs away. It's time that we, as a people, as a nation, as a race of people, humans, we do have the power, if we choose to use it, to take control of our lives, of our planet, of whether we will live, whether there will be humans living on this planet for another 20 years. I mean, the extinction is right on the horizon. It's not like something theoretical. People like Noam Chomsky have been studying such things and the influence of civilization for many decades also. And huge numbers of other people are saying the same thing, that unless we alter this poison culture, this madness culture, then we will cease to exist. So I'm suggesting very strongly that anyone who thinks there's any sense whatsoever to what I'm saying, that we keep in contact with each other. You can look up znews.tv, that's znews.tv, or if you're American it's znews.tv, www.znews.tv. So you're getting it, straight from me, all the way down to, if you can see them, yes, all the way down to my gold shoes. Thank you for viewing.